what I was intrigued by when I looked at it was the obvious, I think, like you said, reaction to what's changed between 2013 and 2022. So you mentioned, and I think that's mostly, I don't know if you'd agree with me, mostly reflected in the new controls that we see.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned the three controls that are, I think, related to privacy, and I think you could argue are a direct response to things like GDPR and CCPA. What are some of the other changes, and what do you see as being the rationale or reasoning behind the fact that we needed this new control?
Okay, yeah, and I mentioned I briefly touched on cloud. So there's a new much needed control for cloud services because we had nothing specifically about cloud because in 2013 cloud wasn't really as big. Now everyone is using some kind of cloud service, even if it's for Office 365 they're using that's a cloud service now. So they had to add a control for that, and the control is, while it's very written at a very high level, there's 2 pages of guidance in the standard for it.
Mm-hmm.
And those 2 pages of guidance really get into more detailed vendor management, making sure you're picking the right cloud service provider, making sure you can move away from that cloud service provider, and move your data, portability of data and things of that nature.
Question. Is it so? Is that control more focused on a cloud consumption, or does it also, like, because like 27017 has a consumption side and a provider side. Does the new control, is that just consumption side?
It is. And that was when I first started reading the standard, that was an area of confusion for me, I'll admit. But when you read, like, at the very bottom in not very big letters, it says this is for the use of cloud services. I mean, the control is called the use of cloud services.
Okay.
But you don't think of it that way when you first start going into it because it's cloud.